Hello, I have this beautiful lady with me today. Hi, can you please tell me a little
Hello.
bit about yourself and what you're doing?
Sure. So my name is Elisabeth Finocchiaro, and I am an established breathwork coach, breathworker, and I'm working in person in Norway and also have an online presence as well, online courses and programs membership. So that's my main focus. I'm a breathworker, and now I also certify others to do the work that I do, and I'm just very passionate and been in the field for around 7 years. And I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for want to join. I recently read something about you had some breakthrough in your breath work, and can you please tell me something about that? It fascinated me a little bit, actually.
But did you read something that I wrote?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I'm not too sure exactly which one you're talking about. I had a breakthrough with my breath work.
Yeah, it was a session you had, the last session you had. It was something huge that happened.
Hmm. Was it earlier? I'm trying to think which.
Oh,
I
we
feel
can
like I'm
talk about
having this.
something else too.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which one you're referring to.
Okay, we can talk about the thing. I read that you were one of the first one in Norway that started breathwork. Okay, is that true? Can you tell me the process it has been?
Sure. So I started 7 years ago, and that was really intuitive based before I mean, I felt like I was the only one doing it. Of course, when I learned more in the field, there are some people in the north of Norway that were doing it. There was another person in the same town, one other person that was doing it, but it wasn't big enough that I even knew about it. And it was just like one other person. So when I learned breath work and I realized like this is what I'm going to focus on, this is what I'm going to hone in on, like this is what I'm going to do, it just built more and more and more and more. And I started to build my brand and my recognition and my social media presence and my courses in Norway to the point where I can I mean, I don't like to say things definite because there could be people that I don't know about, but I definitely am one of the people. I can say that with complete confidence because I don't want to disclude anyone that I don't know about or haven't heard about. But I was definitely one of the first people in Bergen and in Norway. I was living in Bergen at the time, doing breath work at the scale that I was doing, becoming a full-time business owner with a breathwork practice in Norway. So, and then getting to a point where I was also certifying, where I started that in last year, I think it was. I'm starting to like, now it's 2023, so it's actually 2021. I started certifying, which I think I'm the first person as well to certify only breathwork, deep transformative breathwork sessions. So yeah, maybe is that the post that you're referring to? That's the post.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I didn't realize at the time that it would be like this. And yeah, it's been a beautiful journey, and there's advantages and disadvantages of being the big fish in a small pond. Because obviously being a big fish in the small pond, there's a big advantage because I was one of the only ones doing it. So I didn't really have much competition or this sense of like, I don't know, I was new, I was exciting, but at the same time having disadvantages of people not knowing the practice and me really needing to keep showing up and keep showing my clients results and kind of make it a product in the Norwegian market, which is also an ongoing process right now that I'm doing with some other breathwork colleagues that are trained by me to actually make breathwork an official product in the Norwegian market. So yeah, it's been a journey for personal, professional, and then now also like official, in Norway. So yeah, it's exciting. Sometimes it's just like it is what it is. I think when you're in love with your work, like I wrote too, I didn't know that I would be kind of like one of the main ones carrying this practice. But at the same time, in the end of the day, we all just have to do what we're doing, and everyone's work is so important. And yeah, I'm just grateful, and I'm just doing the work that I feel called to do. And I am really passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm proud of you to hold it for so long and have keep believing in your work,
Yeah.
keep doing it, even
Yeah.
if you were new. So I'm very proud of you. One of my greatest wishes, not wishes, I'm gonna do, not now because I have a lot of things, but I'm gonna join your breathwork education. I really want to have it with me
Amazing.
to make it for myself, basically, first of all, and then help others too. So, but basically for myself. So I cannot wait to join your program one day. So I'll be one of your students.
Ah, that makes me so happy.
Yeah. Okay, can I ask you about what you do to keep your mental health in check daily? Can you tell me some about that?
Yeah. So I think it's a huge conversation. And we all have different angles of taking care of ourselves. For me, I think it was a big thing actually tying into this conversation about inner child healing. For me, it was like it was a big process of just being nicer to myself. I have a really big pattern of being hard on myself. And through, different types of inner child healing and therapies and breath work and getting support professionally as well, I've realized that I've been able to just handle life more gracefully and be more graceful with myself. So, how I take care of my mental health daily is this overall growth and maturity and emotional intelligence of like when something gets hard or when I start getting down on myself, instead of keep beating myself down, now it's like, okay, I create some distance, I get a bit softer with myself, I separate things. So just because one part is not doing so well doesn't mean all the other parts of my life are not doing well, where before I used to put it all together. And that also is just not supportive for mental health as well. When you feel like, when I felt like one part of my life was falling down, I thought everything was falling down. So I think the emotional maturity and mental maturity over the years support my daily. I also love to meditate. I love to write. For me, it's a big thing about getting professional help as well. So I've done years of therapy. When I need it, I always get support from a professional. And then also just surrounding myself with really good people. Like my inner circle is so supportive, so great. And yeah, again, it's a really big conversation, but I think something between the simplicity of a good diet and movement and meditation, and then also more like getting professional help, seeing that, okay, I do need more support right now because this is overwhelming or some old stuff is coming up. Especially from my experience of being an entrepreneur, a lot of fears can surface, a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure. So I have this saying that the more I serve, the more my self-care needs to go up. So it's like the more I give, my self-care needs to be even above. So getting massages, just taking care, sauna, and just having and I like to celebrate. This is actually something I'll bring in that can be a bit fun for people to listen. Celebration has been a game changer in with my mind, with my mental health, because when I celebrate, which I try to do big every month, and then like little moments throughout the month, it tells my mind that I'm doing good. Like it tells my mind that like we are moving forward, this is good, we are celebrating this, because I feel the mind can be very easy to like brush things off and be like, and you could actually have done a really good job, or I could have hit the milestone in my business or really showed up in a powerful way, but then my mind will be like, oh, but I didn't do that and that and that and that, so I can't celebrate that. So I've shifted that, especially like 2 years ago, it was like a huge shift where now it's like I celebrate as much as possible, and despite of everything else. And that has also been a really great thing for my mental health, like setting up little moments to celebrate.
Thank you. Wow, I love that. I love to hear everything about what you're doing about the mental health, especially the celebrate part. I'm so agree with you.
Yeah.
And can I ask you about the inner child healing? Have you done any inner child healing? So if you want to
Yeah,
talk
so
about that.
yeah, so throughout the years, I've done some meditations and work that was like called inner child healing. And what I realized as well is like emotional intelligence is something that I specialize in, I'm very interested in. And I realized that, there is like a big window of emotional. Yeah, oh, I love that. Ah, I need one of those. I want, that's amazing, amazing. I realized that a lot of the emotional healing work that we're doing, whether it's called inner child healing or not, is inner child healing. A lot of the triggers that we get, a lot of the reactions that we get, a lot of the stories that we have is coming from age 0 to 16 until we were able to actually adult ourselves and make conscious decisions for ourselves and reparent ourselves. So for me, I think I haven't really honed in on the term inner child healing, even though I have done some meditations and done some work. But I'm realizing that, emotional intelligence is inner child healing, and being friends with yourself, like I was talking about earlier, not being hard on yourself is inner child healing. Because when I'm hard on myself, it's basically the little girl that wants to prove or wants to be good enough and she's not, and she doesn't feel like she fits in, or she doesn't feel good enough, or she is afraid of being seen, so she sabotages and she's scared. And it's all of these inner child wounds and patterns. So that's kind of my take on it, and I think it's incredible work because we need to wake up and realize that, okay, what happened, and how is that affecting me now? And I think even as a 30-year-old woman, or soon 30-year-old woman, there's certain parts of my life where I can still act like a 5-year-old girl or a teenager. And having the awareness of that has been so powerful for me, to be like, oh, this is my teenager self speaking right now. This is my 5-year-old self speaking right now. And if I don't create a new experience, and this is why celebration comes in as well, to create a new experience of like upgrading, being like, hey, when this happens, I don't need to be scared anymore. I can be the 30-year-old self me with all my resources, and I don't need to be scared in the situation. Or I am worthy in the situation. So reparenting has been a big part of my own personal journey of creating new memories for myself.
Bravo. Wow. I get cheesed up almost
Mm.
hearing you have done so much and you're just 30 years old. Wow. Such a great role model you are. You should be influencer too.
Thank you.
But do you have any advice for someone new in this healing journey or breath work or whatever? You feel like you have some advice you want to share?
Hmm. I think two things come up now. Is one is like have a long-term vision for yourself. I think sometimes we want, or I can imagine, and it was for me too at some point, like wanting things to happen like this. And then that even sets up for more pressure and more failure because if I don't get it done in 1 week or 2 months or 3 months, then I fail. So I think, when you're setting off on your healing journey and you're like, okay, this is new for me, but this feels right. I'm going to start to go into my inner child healing, emotional healing. I'm going to start doing breath work or doing some more confrontational work that brings up old patterns. I think it's beautiful to give yourself a long-term space to be like, this is a journey of a lifetime, and I'm just committed to the journey, and just knowing that it's just going to get better and better, little by little, step by step, and there's no completion here. It's more like gratitude of being like, I get to have this awareness now, and how much it's going to affect your personal life, your romantic life. If you have children, I'm sure it will affect the way you parent and just your overall quality of life. So I think, don't put a time frame on your healing journey, and just realize that you're going to be ready for what you're ready for now. Go for it and just take one step at a time, and everything's going to make sense. You're going to have these like full circle moments at some point, and you're like, oh, that's why, I did that work. Now you're ready for this. So it's a beautiful journey. And then my second thing would be seek professional support. I love what's happening right now in this world, how therapy is getting more normalized, where I feel even when I was a little girl going to therapy was only for people who, were really unstable, or there was like a big taboo around therapy, where now I feel it's quite normalized, which is so beautiful. And there's nothing wrong with having a therapist. There's nothing wrong with getting support professionally. And it has helped me tremendously. So having somebody, not going to your partner or your best friend with all of your stuff, but actually getting a support team can be so, so beneficial.
Thank you so much, Elisabeth. I love to have you here. Wishing you all the best in your life, and I cannot wait to join your education program you have. So I will definitely see you there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay.